clearly.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, my lord. Let me first, on behalf of the Ministry of Justice in the state, thank you for this privilege. And I say that this is a privilege because I know that at this time, we are probably the most sought after judicial officer in the country now. For many years, you have been campaigning. You have advised us that both the bench and the bar we need to take the issue of IT and access to justice serious. If you are not a humble person, I would have said now you could have been saying for finding time to join us this afternoon and to indeed be our resource person for this meeting. Moving forward quickly, the purpose of this meeting is for us to share with your lordship your experience along a number of lines. The Chief Justice of Nigeria has just set up a committee to look into the possibilities of remote hearing in our courts. Your lordship is a prominent member of that committee. I will indeed be delighted to know or to get an inside information with respect to how the committee is proceeding, and more specifically, how that will affect the practice of law going forward, especially in this COVID-19 period. The second area which will be very much of interest to us is the Borno State experience. I think over the last 2 weeks, one of the most watched social media video has been your lordship's introduction of the use of IT in courts. Apart from the novel that the idea, the implementation of that idea has brought, I think one of the comments that have been severally passed across is that if Borno State can do this, even with all that is happening, insurgency and all, then other states in the Federation, we don't have any excuse. We should do it. And I know in my personal communication with your lordship did say that it is no big deal. Well, yes, my lord, I respectfully seek to disagree with you. It is a big deal. It's a big deal for us. It's a big deal across the country. All your lordship needs to do is to look at the commentaries that have been posted over and over again across social media. So it's a big deal for us. And we'll be grateful if your lordship can share that experience with us. Now, finally, if I could just mention how we respectfully intend to proceed. I'm having concluded my own 5 minutes introduction. We will very much like your lordship to respond to the issues that have been raised. And then following from that, we'll put a number of questions to your lordship just to clarify where we are. We have received many questions from participants across the country. But what I'll do is to just ask the most the salient ones. So without much ado, your lordship, I want to thank you. I understand that a couple of attorneys general are with us. Edo, Plateau, or a number, but I will recognize them once I have the full confirmation. So my lord, without much ado, we are grateful. We very much look forward to listening to you now. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Wale. You're quite right about one thing, that it's not easy for me to join you now. Right now, I'm very tense. I have four different devices open, and I'm working on them all. So, but you know, I owe it to you, because I should have gone to Ekiti long ago, but for some mix-up of communication, and I did take responsibility for that, and I thought I shouldn't say no to you. So I'll please implore the participants to help me end this session by 4 so that I can now go to other devices and other things I'm working on, including the one that Oli just mentioned, the committee that has only 14 days to present a report. Now, quickly, I will say the committee is sitting, so it's ongoing, and I have not been mandated to talk. It's headed by my Lord, the Honourable Justice Kashim, and I don't want to go about saying this is what we're doing. But one thing I can assure you is that we're working hard to make sure that we carry out the assignment satisfactorily. Now, remember also it is Ramadan, and so be careful, wear your masks so that whatever virus escapes from my dry mouth doesn't reach you. So better wear your mask. This one is broadband-borne virus that will come out. So honestly, when I say this, I will start from the Borno experience thing that you asked for. I keep saying it's no big deal, and I don't mean it I don't mean it lightly. Actually, the purpose of doing that, commencing that remote hearing or remote sitting, I would rather even call it, I prefer to call it, instead of even virtual hearing or virtual, I prefer to call it OCS, online court sitting. The technology will impose terminologies on us, and I will just swallow them. Having worked for the past 8 years with the technical guys and technology guys, ranging from the highest of the Indian firms to the US ones, I have become so confident that as lawyers, we can insist, and they really have sometimes no reason to give us terminologies. We can use our own. So I'd rather call it even online court sitting instead of all this virtual hearing. It's not virtual, it's true, it's hearing. It's just that it is online. That's my point. It's really no big deal. And that's the purpose. To show that it's no big deal is what motivated me to now call upon my some judges. I said, look, this COVID has come. I was waiting because I have a national assignment. I wasn't rolling out things here, as it will not be fair, but now we've reached a stage where there is this pervasive fear of technology, and they believe that it is something extraordinary that exists in the moon. So I've tried to get other courts to do it, honestly, but they were dragging their feet. And and some event happened, and I realized that even as I was talking, that distinguished audience was apparently of the opinion that even you cannot do it. You're just coming here, you're just talking. So somehow I got that feeling, and I realized, okay, now there's nothing I can do but to do something so that my colleagues and the legal profession knows that this is really no big deal. And in every court, I am very sure that every court, any Ministry of Justice, just call these young men and say, set up a Zoom meeting. They will do it for you. So it's no big deal. That is all we did. Yes, we tweaked a few things, like instead of an invitation to a Zoom meeting that you get, all you see on your the invitation as a lawyer or even the press that we invited is the case number there, the name of the parties. In this particular one that was aired, I think it was Mohammed Ali, the state, and Mohammed Ali. And then now take notice that judgment has been slated for delivery at so time by the High Court number so. In this case 13. And you may enter the court hall 10 minutes to the commencement of sitting by clicking the link below. Now that's where the change comes. That's all. So we made it our language so that you don't have to go and open anything, ask anybody for some terminologies before you know it. And you know it's our own. So this is, apart from even that notice, there's nothing we've done differently. Like I told you, it's like NTA staging their network news. It probably is even more difficult to do. So it's no big deal. And that is the point. It's no big deal. So we can do it we all have the capacity to do it. We have the capability, we have the resources. Just broadband, take your iPhone or whatever phone you're using now. It has data. That's it. That's what I'm using now. You can host the meeting with it. I mean, it's no big deal. So we have no reason not to do it. That is the whole purpose. And please, that's the message I want us to carry from this one. And There is no state in this country. There's a big court in this country. I will not mention names, but I have to give the example so that we know the value of leadership and leadership's commitment and buy-in. For years, we've been trying to get that court to do certain things and start rolling out technology. It never worked. We even brought in the staff, trained them, and did everything. It never worked. Not to the extent that we knew they were capable of. And that court is so strategic that their success will rebound. People will see example and then follow. They had a change of leadership recently, and it's just like magic. I told the new leader, look, this is it. He was interested, and I said, look, see, with your interest, we have no problem. 2 days ago, he called me. One of his staff had developed an app. We are yet to review the app. But the fact that the staff are so energized now that they know their leader wants it, and they are even developing applications, shows the value of leadership. Again, no big deal. Our young men, I'm glad we've seen it in Nollywood. We've seen it in music. Yes, I love music. The much as I'm now buried and all this, all this thing doesn't go away. I am always so proud when I travel outside Nigeria, and sometimes white men that pick you up are playing Nigerian musicians all over the world. As for Africa and Nollywood, I don't need to tell anybody. So we have young men who are just trying to bust out. We have them in the judiciary too, even already employed. Just show commitment and they will come up to you. You will see the amazing things these young men can do for the justice system. So please, let's get to it. Then finally, because there's one key project of the NJC, the committee that I chair, that has been on for long. We had expected it to have taken off, and that is the key to all the things that all the rooms that were built. Without that key, you can't open them. Well, not satisfactorily. That's the legal email. Please, lawyers, enroll. Get your mail. That is the key that will unlock everything. Proof of service is there, but more fundamentally, persons, we all travel out and come back and say, oh, they have this good thing working there. That we forget some of the underlying requirements for some of these things system to operate. For example, in all these countries where you see wonderful performance by courts due to technology, every citizen has an unique identified number, be it a national ID card number or social security number. That is key. Do we have it here? No, even the lawyers. So we had to walk around that with the legal email. Now that email becomes the online identity of the lawyer. With that alone, when it comes to e-filing, we've conquered a lot of the obstacles. Initially, we were advising states not to try e-filing, but later on we realized that, look, sometimes it's better to allow them to burn their hands so that they can learn. Tell me of any successful e-filing project in this country. No, because they even started from the wrong. It's just like you want to build a house and you started putting up the door, erecting the door, and you want a big door so that things can come in fast. They go in now, no foundation, no roof. How is it your business to have a very good entrance without all these things? So that's e-filing. E-filing is just to bring in the stuff to the court. You have brought it. In fact, the fact that the structure is not there does not even allow the bringing in to work very well. Because even your door is not standing on a foundation, it collapses sometimes. So this is key. If today we commit to this project, by the time, right now we have about only 5,000 active users, 23,000 that we have onboarded, mostly from the verified database of the MBA, are not even active about it. If we can get the critical mass, active lawyers, we'll forget about those who have already gone and are selling their spare parts and are very happy about it. But those who go to court, so long as we get even 70% of them with the legal email. Believe me, challenge me, say it anywhere. Give us just 1 month to see the wonders. Because everything else will be fast. Not because, let me be honest. We have already designed the things and are waiting. So we'll just deploy them. If there's anything, I think I should now allow time for questions, and then the questions themselves will remind me of some of the things that I may need to say. But please, that is very important. Why? Okay, good. There is a case management system that has been developed fully by us, by Nigeria, to be deployed at High Court level, National Industrial Court, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. That means we have a seamless network. In short, the entire project, we try to create an ecosystem for the justice sector. They all tie into each other. Of course, they all can operate as standalone, but you know the benefits of having seamless integration. So that case management system is also ready. Honorable Attorney General, I'm glad you're here. We have sent in what we call a checklist to the judiciaries. What you need in order to now start using, to start now really what we call computerizing the court that we have been saying, buying a few desktops are not good, it's good. But really computerizing is now when the cases are filed, or whatever, then it starts moving through the process of the court in the electronic fashion. With that, you have data, you can extract information, extract reports, so many things. It's just the engine room, and it's ready. And it's a paradigm shift in the world. Somebody's trying to share the screen. I don't mind, you can share his screen. We shook the world of case management when we started this. Ordinarily, others were buying licenses from vendors and they hold you by the neck. Tomorrow they say they have updated a new version, you have to pay dollars, millions of dollars. We realized we couldn't do that, but we could put pressure and get some money to develop our own. They said, you can't do it, it's too. We tried it and we've succeeded now. That too should be encouraged by the Attorney General. With that email and the case management system, once they take off, we are home. And honestly, I'm not talking about just being able to follow others. No, we have young, daring men, we have ideas, and because we have judges who can devote time to the development of these things, we have systems that are already being copied elsewhere and they are shining. And they came here and we gave it to them. Some of you may have noticed it when 5 justices of the Caribbean, 2 justices of the Caribbean nation came during Justice time, seeking our help. We did. They went back. They have even now sent applications and have developed based on that system. So I'll leave our host to now all those questions. And I'll mute my mic so that it will become very clear when they're asking their questions. I will unmute when it's time for me to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, my Lord. We've received a number of questions, but first let me recognize the presence, the online presence of my Lord, the CG of Borno State, Honourable Justice Akeredolu. Honourable Justice Akeredolu. My Lord, we are grateful that you're able to join this discussion. Now, my Lord, a couple of questions. I'm just putting together the questions, and we have a number now, so I have to go through them one part by part. The first obvious question, my Lord, is how did you in Borno State convince other judges to be part of this initiative? And how are we sure, how are we sure that the CGN's initiative can come down to the 36 states of the Federation? As my Lordship is aware, we have CJs that are IT compliant, and we have CJs that are IT non-compliant. How do we ensure, and for this to work on a national spread, we must all be on the same page. So what is the what can the NJC do to make sure that all the judiciaries?
I think I'll answer this one. I'll be very honest with you. I have suffered on this project that I'm so passionate about it. I throw all caution to the winds. For 2 years on the roads from Maiduguri up to Portiskum, you won't find even a counselor on the road. But every other week I was traveling because our airport was closed. I was just literally penetrating Boko Haram territory. in order to have this project go on. Sometimes they call, they are attacking a so-so village. Hold on. Then sometimes they call, where are you? Okay, you are past it. They have just come out to attack the road. Sometimes, literally, at Beni Sheikh, we were meandering my car through dead bodies and army tanks because the army knew me. I was always going on that road. All of them know me. And they were very cooperative. There was a time there wasn't a single road on this, from Maiduguri through Yobe to Kano on that day. Army allowed only me. A canal was turned back. So I'm passionate. I don't believe I'm playing politics here. Look, I don't care. I will tell the truth. Yes, you're right. There are some sieges, my colleagues, that are unfortunately obstacles. But that's the whole idea of even coming up with that press listing of launching this. Mount Pressure is your local problem. You should know what your CJ reacts to, so that he will enable, there will be at least 1 or 2 judges who are interested. Let him just empower them. It is even in his own interest. Let him empower them, set up an IT committee. That's why the first thing we advise in the Judicial Information Technology Policy is set up an IT committee. Have an IT department, even if it is just one person you have at this time, have him, and then expand gradually. Get a chairman, let him be a judge so that he can be respected and the committee's decision can be taken seriously. But let him be a judge who is interested. You can't do this thing until you have a lot of interest and passion. And once you have passion, whoever thinks you are suffering, you think you're enjoying. So honestly, that's it. As for policy at the NJC, we keep begging the states to come and do it, join in. This is it. Nothing happens. Some states are good. Like I told you, we had change of leadership in one of the courts. It's just amazing. It's just amazing what we're seeing. We had always known that leadership counts, but what we're seeing in that court is amazing. So yes, you're right. But it's not, the NJC is there and it's been begging, it's invested a lot. Look, let me be honest with you. I'm a state judge from Borno, like you said. The introduction is good. I know we cannot afford some of these things. So, having been saddled with this job, I made sure that the NJC did the heavy lifting. In fact, the case management system that we have now was earlier donated to Borno State during my quest to have a case management system to start properly. But then I realized that what I was given by the National Center for State Courts US, you know, it is a non-profit that is set up by the State Courts of the US. I realized that it's like, okay, you build a house, 3-bedroom flat, and you go looking for a generator. And somebody said, okay, take this generator, go and use it. I've given you free. And then that happens to be like a power plant that can power a whole town or city. Even the cable to draw the light to your house will be like 3 times the cost of your house. So I couldn't even use it. So now when this opportunity came, it's another story of how I came to be the chairman of the policy committee. I said, okay, good. Why don't I now work it out in such a way that on a national level we can, because it can process millions of cases, not just 1 or 2,000 cases. So that's how the whole principle. The NJC now set up all the software, paying for licenses, all the heavy lifting. All you now need is buy your small cable, go and connect, bring the enjoyment to your house, then put your computers and everything, and you're good to go. A lot of the licenses that you would have been the one to pay for is already paid by the NJC. It's structured in such a way that rich states, poor states like mine, all can have it and will all operate on equal footing. So don't take any excuse from anyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's instructive. My Lord, the more practical aspect of remote court hearing is the issue of open justice. In fact, across many of the practice directions that I've seen, one of the issues that we struggle with is how do we respond to the constitutional provisions of open justice, i.e. judgment must be given in, as far as possible, must be given in open court. Now, how have you managed this, given the Borno State experience? Some have said that a judge can always come to the open court and read the judgment. That will amount to public, even if there is nobody there. Others have said that.
I know the question. I've followed all the questions. So let's save time and let me answer you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, we walked around it for a start. Like I told you, I felt the need to demonstrate this thing so that we will have this kind. In fact, the reaction is beyond beyond what I expected, but it's good. It's successful. So what we did is we now had a situation where some persons are in prison. Their trial is not going on. The prisons, insisted that they will not remand anybody anymore, and they will not even produce for trial those who have already remanded. So they will just stay like this until COVID is over. We find this very unreasonable, Honourable Attorney General. But be that as it may, that's another thing. So we said, okay, two things now involved. Presence of the accused, very important, and the trial being open. So, okay, any lawyer, we call the MBA and brief them at the meeting. Earlier on, I had a meeting with all stakeholders, Ministry of Justice, Police, Correctional Services, Police, and everything. We agreed on certain, I would say, manual safeguards, and then this one. So we told about this is what we're trying to do. In order to, we had, of course, we're lawyers, we all had all these arguments and cases and all this. We said, look, practical solution. Any lawyer who has a client who wants his judgment delivered online during an online sitting should apply, get the written consent of his lawyer, of his client, that yes, instead of being kept in prison without status as ATM, and we don't know when COVID will be over, I would rather have my judgment delivered online, in an online sitting. I mandate my lawyer hereby waive whatever right I have and mandate him to just carry on. Good. To us, that was good enough. But of course, again, to be practical, even the facilitated movement of the lawyers, it was not possible. The town was in lockdown. So now we arrange. Fortunately, our Attorney General is very influential. Just one call. One phone call. Okay, your domestic constituency is calling. Get us passes so that we can have lawyers move to the prison, get these necessary consents, file it, and then we're good to go. So that is it. Yes, there are other legal ways of this thing, but now we just needed to be practical. Whatever solution, I'm not opposed to it, but ours is, having done that, if on appeal, if he's convicted and he goes on appeal, we believe our own understanding is that the right to be present in court is his own right. He can waive it. At any rate, our laws are replete with other examples whereby he can even be thrown out for misbehavior and all this, and then the case continues. So we worked around it. But yes, now that the discussion is on, let's get to even a better and more agreeable solution. No problem with that. We are not bogged down. As to public access, what is access? Look, we have to even come out of this idea of access, space, time. Everything is now being changed by technology. We invited online press and we invited also NTA, the offline press. The online press went into the courtroom, Borno Yerwa Express, very nice young men. Anyway, that's another story. We have them all over. So it's open. And then we advise even that, actually young men, they know how to do it. You get just minimal equipment. And at one of the points, they stream it live on even a Facebook channel. That's it. Open doesn't mean it will be carried to your home. Do we go around to the street and pack people to bring them to our courts? Now that we are in the conventional, the old normal way, it only means the doors of the court are open. The gate is open. If you like, you come in. Okay, this time it is open online through Facebook or through this URL. It's open. As far as I'm concerned, but then, well, let's do it and let the courts do their job when the case is reached there. We can't just, when our lawyers agreed on anything, they all have to end up in court. So this is our position. We believe this is what is good for our people. We will do it, and then we'll abide by the law when they reach the law courts and judgments come down. That's our approach. Thank you.
Thank you, my lord. That is with respect to criminal matters. In fact, there are a number of questions on criminal matters, but I think my lord has addressed those ones. The issue of prisons, the issue of getting consent of accused person in prison. So I think that is. But my lord, with the issue of civil litigation, particularly as it relates to online filing, how has the Borno State Judiciary been able to overcome that?
Good. The issue of online filing is not, we have not even addressed it at all. Now, number one, our first concern is criminal, because they are the ones that must suffer under this circumstance, somebody whose freedom is restricted. Even in the criminal, we prioritize. Yeah, we have this lengthy directive that, and my computer chose this time to misbehave, but anyway, I'll get it out. Now I had to buy a new one. So we had all this elaborately laid out in what we call cost list aligned smart steps class. So there is prioritization. Priority first criminal, even in the criminal to those in custody. And then even for those in custody, the one that will result in the congestion of the prison, meaning bail applications, judgment, and go on like this, up to addresses. Even that of witnesses, we have left it aside because there's technology issue involved there too, as to hearing. So when I even read that Borno has commenced online hearing or virtual hearing, well, yes, we hear. When it comes to maybe addresses, it's still a hearing. But that's why, like I said, online court sitting, what takes place there, this. As for filing, we have not started e-filing at all. I know so much about technology that I couldn't have, it would have been scandalous if you've gone to now some place to say that we're not started e-filing without having a case management system in place, without having a way of foolproof identity for lawyers who can file. It will not work. All the other stuff I've attempted, if you are trying to attempt Ajiware, put your energy towards this legal mail so that you have the one that will now make sure that you can have e-filing. The application itself, the development of this thing is very simple. Once you have that basic requirement, it's done. So yes, our priority now is only those cases that have come in. Now, as to civil, we have not given them priority, but we're going there too. We have even come out with the rules are there. But right now, we have not started even taking moving civil cases there. And then there too, I think this is where consent works even best. If they like, it goes on. But unfortunately, in this case, you find a situation where some of the parties may think it's in their interest that the case doesn't ever go on. And then that now ball is back to the court of the lawyers. So yes, if anybody tells you that Borno is doing e-filing, no, we're not doing e-filing. We've not even tried it. We know it's not going to work because we lack certain infrastructure, certain key components that enable an e-filing application to work. And the same applies all across. The advanced states of Nigeria and the backward states all don't have it. And the best solution is national. And we have the solution. What we haven't got is the buy-in. The Supreme Court has to start even forcing lawyers that you must have this email address, otherwise you can't file here. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We are an enlightened profession. The bar should just stop and in fact, we started very well. At a certain point when we realized that going one by one, elaborate process because it's a security this thing to have that email. It's the database of the MBA that we now uploaded to the system. But then once it's uploaded, you have to go through the process up to being checked at the Supreme Court for your role. So this is the key to e-filing in Nigeria. Without that, you can make any arrangements. And I'm not against making arrangements that will solve the problem a little bit, but to have a good functional e-filing system requires this. At least this is our approach. Thank you.
Thank you, my Lord. I wonder if my Lord, Honourable Justice Akeredolu, would like to comment at this time. Is my Lord still online? My Lord, the Chief Judge of Ondo State.
I just need to unmute.
It's just okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me the privilege to make a comment. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, my Lord, we are hearing you.
Hello, Honourable Justice.
My Lord, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. My Lord Justice Zannah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my Lord.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. I'm in the office, not like you, enjoying your couch.
Yes,
I'm in
I
chambers.
am.
I'm in my chambers.
I'm not in chambers, and it's deliberate because all through this period when people have found locked up, locked out,
Yeah, I agree.
I've been in the office, and my supporting staff have been very faithful, very dedicated.
They always are.
I had to allow them to stay in their respective homes. And the spirit of the lady.
Excellent,
Thank
excellent.
you, my Lord. Yes. Now, I want to appreciate you for what you have been doing. I've listened to you proud to now, and I believe that we need to move forward by adopting some of the changes that technology has brought. The only thing we have done in my jurisdiction is to use Zoom for our meeting. Our our courts have been sitting over the criminal matters and we've restricted our people inside the court hall to maximum of 20 at any given point in time. This includes the judge, the supporting staff, the police orderlies, the litigants, counsel, and all. And we've excluded people who do not have genuine reason to be in the court. It's good to allow the public in the spirit of the Constitution, but it becomes imperative that we keep the larger society away from court in the interest of our well-being. The pandemic is ravaging all over. God will preserve us. So the only thing we've been able to do is to hold our meetings using the Zoom. My lords have been sitting to deliver judgment. I know that the emphasis of your lordship has been on judgment in criminal matters based on agreement of counsel and their client. But my worry is in the fact that, yes, we can do online for delivery of judgment. What about trials proper, in which we need to take the plea of a defendant and in which the witnesses have to be available, not only for their evidence in chief, also for cross-examination. And how would we manage such situation if we are doing online trial? Thank you very much.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, my lord, for your interest and concern. I earlier touched on this issue of when you go deep to the hearing. Now, especially when it comes to the taking of witnesses. I am going to, as soon as I have now liberated myself, I had to buy another laptop to get to my documents. I will share some of the directives that I've issued. There is a real problem when it comes to hearing, but that is actually not a problem of the platform as such, but the quality of services we get here. Some of the solutions, it's always a walk-around kind of thing. We are used to it because in Nigeria, if you want to translate technology, you have to have a culture, a brain that always travels out of the box, sees your environment, sees this, understands the system, and then translates it. We even earlier, because we were working on this thing before COVID came, we even had a suggestion whereby, okay, the witness comes to court, either in the town or in another place, whereby the two courts talk, and then he can go in, a clerk or somebody is assigned, they sit together so that nobody whispers to his ears, and then he can join from that angle. So many workarounds. It's not exhaustive, but yes, you have identified a good problem. Nevertheless, let's even do the ones that we can do. We have not been doing even the judgment delivery, even the addresses, adoption of addresses. Come on, for goodness sake. So the moment we do this, and this fear that my lord, our colleagues have of this computer, I have always tell them that nothing will come out and bite you out of the computer. It's that. So we are beginning now to conquer the fear of the computer, the fear of the internet, and all this thing. And then who knows? It's those who are opposed to this thing that may even come up with the best of solutions. And then the technology too. 5G is coming. With 5G, connections become fast, and really, for what we're talking about, that is going to be a game changer. Because of the speed and everything, we can do so many things. We can design apps that will scan his location, and tell us if there's somebody whispering to him and all this thing. And very good. Another point is that is why it's good to have a system developed for the judicial system. Now, even before we're using Zoom now because Zoom is popular and it's the rev of the moment. But we already have a subscription to Microsoft Teams long ago. And we've been using that in our own meetings and this thing because it has more security, so many better features. But to be fair to Zoom, they have come up so fast with their popularity. They're fixing things that used to be the negative for them and all this. So, but whatever the case, when we're ready to move, and we're now getting ready, apparently, we'll come out with rules, guidelines and regulations that will cut out all of these problems and also solve the problems of like that of a hearing of witnesses. I always prefer to do it at the national level so that things just will work for everybody. I hope I've covered your question. So yes,
thank you.
Let's do the ones we can do now. Exhaust them. By even the process will teach us how to solve the problems that may come with the others. That's the answer.
Thank you, my lord. My sister, the Honourable Attorney General of Edo State, I understand she's online. Professor Omorigbe.
I don't mean to pick a fight, but don't.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My Honourable AG, I'm really delighted to be here. I think what I'm doing is learning and listening, because I'm a big believer in what we're getting now. I mean, the fact that we can use the internet. Is this better? Hello?